So it seems that Warhorse Studios have made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 even better with patch 1.2. I did some digging over the weekend to test and pinpoint some of the changes made, because I think you can spend at least an hour comprehensively reading the patch notes and still only be halfway down this very long list. So to save you some time, let me share 10 key takeaways with you about global mechanical changes and specific tweaks in this overview. What else to kick off with than the Barber Feature? This was already on the KCD2 roadmap, and you can now change Henry's appearance by visiting either the one at Zaleshov Wagoner's Inn on the first map or the one at Adam's Bathhouse in Kudenberg. You can change both Henry's haircut and his beard in mere seconds. And man, if it only were this easy in real life, because I guess I could use some new hair on top. Anyways, afterwards you'll receive a new buff called Freshly Trimmed, which increases your charisma by 2 temporarily. Now I think it's great to have some extra customization options. You can even go back to Henry's KCD1 look, which is a great nod to the original for when you're feeling nostalgic. And I have to update a tip from my last KCD2 tips and tricks videos, because a lot of quest fixes and changes were also introduced. Amongst others, the loot you can find in the Wolf's Den after you're reunited with Mud have been changed. Before you would find this broadsword, a mended chest plate, an engraved gemstone ring, a silver ring, spectacles and a tin cross. And now after the patch you'll find this cumin focus. I know pronunciation is terrible, because it's similar to a warhammer, a bassinet with Aventail, and the same jewelry with the exception of the engraved gemstone ring, which has been removed. The overall value has really taken a nosedive here. Before the patch, the total valued up to 1393, and afterwards you're looking at 581. But there's another reason the value changed, and that's because of the tweaks that have been made to the economy here and there. For instance, they rebalanced the pricing of jewelry. Warhorse didn't apply the same percentual change across the board, but most prices seem to have gone up instead of down, despite the fact that earning groschen never seemed to be a major problem anyways, seeing how easy it is to gather a lot of loot quickly. In relation to that, I was surprised to see that merchants haven't received a boost in their budget, so the issue remains of having nowhere to sell your wares, because they already gave you all of their coin during your latest loot selling spree. Other balance tweaks are how quickly food goes bad over time, which will be a good change for those of you that don't stock up on honey. And if you haven't heard about this before, I can recommend highly looking around small towns for beehives where you can loot some honey. It's the best food item in the game as far as I'm concerned, but I digress. Another change that I think a lot of people will be happy with is that the severity of the torture debuff you get during the main mission, The Storm, has been nerfed. So to be precise, the penalty to strength has been removed, not causing you to be heavily over-encumbered, so you should be able to keep most of your items when you have to make it out of the forest. But there's another reason why people dislike this quest, and I'm pretty sure some of you would want to use some stronger language here, which is because of the incredible stealth detection skills of NPCs in this mission. Now apparently a lot of changes to stealth have also been implemented, such as rebalanced stealth stats for all clothing, and they also created new equipment specifically supporting stealth gameplay. Now even though the patch notes don't mention any specifics, I did notice a lot of clothing items at merchants that now have the suffix black or blackened to them with low visibility and noise stats, so this will be your indicator on what to look for when you're piecing together a new stealth outfit. I also tested out pickpocketing last night, which is another one of the changes listed that ties in nicely with the stealth changes, but I couldn't find any noticeable difference. But let me know in a comment what your findings here are. Now, I suspect it has something to do with the timer and how much time is deducted whenever you confirm you want to loot a specific item. Another change that is very noticeable straight away are the prices for skill teachers. Now I covered these in a previous video, and my opinion then was that spending money on learning basic and apprentice level lessons would be less effective over time due to the price versus XP gained ratio when you'd already have higher skill levels. However, this patch has lowered the prices considerably, with basics going from 100 to 75 groschen, apprentice from 500 to 200, journeyman from 1500 to 500, and master, hold on to your seat, from 5k to 1k, so they're only 20%. I think this balances the ratio to the point where, especially for the apprentice and journeyman lessons, which by the way, I thought were on the border of being justifiable, but not too bad for 1500. But now the master lessons can be called cheap in comparison. Next is they added a fast travel point to Bajena's hut, which is an awesome change because I've spent a lot of time going back and forth in the beginning, even more so since Bajena and her daughter both are skill teachers, so you might want to make a few trips out there. Now keep in mind that you still have to revisit her hut to unlock the fast travel point, so when you don't see it on the map, it's not a bug, you have to go there to have it pop up. Speaking of pop-ups, there is one in particular that has been driving people nuts, and that was the tutorial reminding you to stop pressing W to move forward whenever your horse would be galloping. Now I kept seeing it as well because I intuitively kept pressing it, but no more. Now you'll see it once and then never again. Combat has also seen some changes, and a great improvement I think is that being hit will no longer interrupt the player drawing a weapon. I think we've all experienced this one time or another when you were trying to switch from your bow to your melee weapon, only for whoever was running up to you to keep you from drawing it by poking you with the sword. Now it made no sense to me. If your life depended on it, you wouldn't stop trying to defend yourself, so this tweak is really nice to have. Another combat change that caught my eye was the player is no longer able to easily back away from attacking enemies thanks to the slowdown effect during hit reaction. That's something to keep in mind for when you're fighting a group and you're trying to backpedal to recover some stamina. Do you agree with my list, and what do you think of the patch? What changes do you find particularly helpful? Let me know down below. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to support it, then consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel to see more of my coverage of open world and strategy games. As always guys, thank you for tuning in and see you in the next one.